Welcome to the So You Want to Get Fat podcast. I'm your host, not your typical chef, Brian Sao. And today is my co-host, my wonderful, buttery ball of French goodness, Chef Paul Frenchy, the animal, Dynamiel. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
That was a real emphasized good, yeah.
Well, patient 0 infected me.
Yes.
And I had a rough week.
Yes, you had a rough week.
But like my body acts differently. Like yours, like slow doses, but over a long time.
Yeah.
Mine attacks.
Attacked. Yeah.
And I had like 3 days of like really deep fever.
Complete misery.
Well, no, I didn't know where the fuck I was. I was like staring at the wall. Spiders were crawling through the walls and everything. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it literally took me a month to recover. I would say today is the first day where I feel 98% myself.
Oh, I'm there already.
Yeah, I'm still like 2% away.
But I'm like the Wolverine. I need to be left alone in a dark hole, and I just regenerate.
You know, the Wolverine doesn't live in a dark hole necessarily.
I'm just saying. Okay, a bear. I need to sweat it out.
Hibernate. Come back.
And just leave me alone.
Yeah.
And I come back.
Yeah, you're looking great.
I regenerate.
Yeah.
How's the beard? That's what's most
important.
important.
Oh yeah, I noticed you didn't do that today.
I know.
Yet. So, buddy, guess what? As of filming this podcast,
have a good show for us today?
I do have a very good show for us. A lot of interesting things. But as of taping this episode, we are so close to 10,000 subscribers on So You Want to Get Fat podcast.
Wait a second. Is this your segue into me getting them to subscribe more?
Yes, it is.
This is going to be a long trip, right? With the asking of the subscribing.
Mm-hmm.
With the asking of the subscribe. Subscribe.
Yes. Notification bell. Thumbs up.
Notification. All that jazz.
Yeah. Leave a comment if you're enjoying this podcast. Maybe by the time this episode comes out, we would have hit 10,000, but we're not there just yet. With that said, I want to plug really quickly my band Lost Becomes will be playing. Actually, I should know this. You see, I'm very hands-on with most things in my life. With the band, I'm not very hands-on. I just get told where to show up.
Well, don't you have a number 2 at the band who can pick up some slack?
No, they're definitely putting in the work. I used to, really run the show. And then eventually after the shop opened up and the YouTube channels, I've taken a step back and the other
But
guys.
is it a sharing process or is it one person in charge?
No, it's a sharing process. Everyone takes a big
There
role.
you
So
go.
my band Lost Becomes playing May 3rd at
La Rivage, 340 West.
The Meadows in Brooklyn. Lost Becomes playing the Meadows in Brooklyn May 3rd. Definitely check us out if you like heavy metal. Jordan will put up the flyer, maybe some B-roll of my band playing. If you like heavy metal, big riffs, good workout music, check out Lost Becomes. He's wearing a Lost Becomes hoodie.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Lost Becomes hat. I rock my own merch. I don't mind.
Let me plug something.
Yeah.
La Rivage still has. Wait, when is this gonna pop?
In 2 weeks.
Oh, never mind, guys. I was gonna promote Valentine's Day because we have something really nice happening. So forget about it. Too late.
With your buddy Jacques.
Mm-hmm.
Which today's a podcast day means we need to do a Tuesday tip reaction, a Jacques Torres Tuesday tip reaction. We'll get to that though.
Yeah, but we need to call our segment of his segment Just the Tip.
Just the tip? Okay. All right. That's the official name.
Just the Tip.
We will do
Come
that.
on, let me put it in. Just the tip.
With Jacques Torres.
I mean, we can do that on our thing.
Yeah.
I so wanted to comment. I told you this, right?
Yeah,
on his thing,
yes.
but his wife said, no, just save it for your show.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Today I have prepared us a clip from Steve-O's Wild Ride podcast where he interviews Dee Snider. And I think what they talk about here is applicable to anybody and really, is along the theme of what we always preach, how things always get better, how you have to persevere, how you have to sometimes hit rock bottom.
Dude, I go to dark places. When I had that fever.
Well, you saw me for the last month. I've been in a dark place.
I know.
You know, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm definitely feeling more like myself. Like,
can't stand the lights. You can't stand the noise. You're like in a hole. You're like, you bury yourself.
I was so grumpy.
I was just like, oh.
I was so fucking grumpy. I just did not feel like myself. But now I do.
and so do I.
All right. So let's put on our headphones.
Okie dokie, Smokey. And do you want to keep them?
Well, I'll tell you when to put them back on and take them off and such.
I'm happy for Steve-O.
Oh, right?
Dude,
he was a story.
He was on a bad road.
Yes. I mean, he was, if anything, like the definition of a piece of shit, for the longest time. And like, look at how healthy he looks, how happy he looks.
Yeah, but those teeth aren't real.
Yeah, of course they're not real, but it's good that
they're too white.
No, it's well documented. He lost all his teeth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's watch.
Senators are giggling and laughing because it was a goof, man. It was a goof, and they were shining a spotlight on it. Nobody even paid attention to the mentors. They still out there playing. Thanks to the PMRC, they're legends now.
Wow. So to Scott's point, they did sell more.
I hate to say it. Thank God for his popularity because he does not have a voice for radio.
No, he doesn't.
It's such a grating voice.
Yes.
It's like you need to like him to like have the patience to endure listening that long.
But also it makes him stand out.
It does. He's recognizable, but it's hard to endure for a very long time.
Yeah. I listen to this podcast quite a lot.
I do too.
But you're right. I am a fan of his. Always have been.
Of course did, yeah.
Man, this is fantastic. With radio, when did you get into radio?
So, Twisted Sister crashed and burned in '87, and
officially in '88, I think it was announced in January of '88. I read.
Oh, but you know what? You're probably right because it was like October, November,
right? Yeah.
When and then before I officially notified the band that I was out of the band, and I guess that's when they officially. So you're correct. I stand corrected on Twisted Sister lore, for sure. Okay, and so then I did another band called Desperado. Major deal, big money, so much. Clive Burr from Iron Maiden was playing drums, and Bernie Torme, who had played with Ian Gillan and Ozzy. Anyway, and then that got shelved. And then the bottom started really falling out. The music scene, I did a band called Widowmaker. Grunge came in, and I like to say that I received a telegram. What you do, we don't do anymore. Stop. Don't bother trying. Stop. Stop singing, performing, even looking like you do. Stop. But that's basically what happened with grunge, and I'm married. I got 3 kids. I can't believe I had made millions and I had blown millions, and I wasn't drunk and nobody stole it. It just, people say, well, how do you do that? The ego that got you.
You're married and you have 3 kids.
Listen, this part's important.
Wait, but I'm usually ahead of the curve.
Yeah, but I really want you to hear this next part he's about to say. So he's married with 3 kids, left Twisted Sister.
He's no longer producing money.
And grunge is coming through. He's part of the whole hair metal thing. But let's keep.
Well, he was glam.
Yeah.
Clive Burr from Iron Maiden was playing drums, and Bernie Torme, who had played with Ian Gillan and Ozzy. Anyway, and then that got shelved. And then the bottom started really falling out. The music scene, I did a band called Widowmaker. Grunge came in, and I like to say that I received a telegram. What you do, we don't do anymore. Stop. Don't bother trying. Stop. Stop singing, performing, even looking like you do. Stop. But that's basically what happened with grunge, and I'm married. I got 3 kids. I can't believe I had made millions and I had blown millions, and I wasn't drunk and nobody stole it. It just, people say, well, how do you do that? The ego that got you there in the first place won't allow you to accept it's over.
Now, was this the time that you also declared bankruptcy too?
Twice.
The ego that got you there won't let you accept that it's over.
Yeah, it's a fine line between success and failure.
Yeah.
And it's your strength can also be your weaknesses.
Jordan, please make a clip out of that. Just that 5 seconds of your strengths will be your weaknesses. We gotta put that on a t-shirt. Strengths, ... 100%, right?
Mhm.
Like, listen, it's hard enough to attain any form of success. It is way harder to maintain. Way harder to maintain. And then, like, where do you go from there?
You're better off. What I've seen is to peak,
Mm-hmm.
drift off a little bit, become anonymous, and then repeak and repeak.
Mm.
There's more instead of trying to peak and just stay there.
Right.
You're better off just like, okay, downgrade yourself,
Right.
take the time you need,
Yeah.
respite, clear your fucking brain.
Yeah.
Take some time off.
Well, in the last podcast, I was telling you about how I was tying my self-worth into my income, into the views, into the business dollar amount. And I've kind of recently had to accept, and it's not that this mindset won't happen again, but I think every time I go through this and work through it mentally and push through it, I think every time it'll soften the blow and get me a bit more used to the idea of it's constant peaks and valleys.
But there is a safety net mentally looking at your bank account and say, okay, there's money there.
Yeah.
And it's not going down.
Yeah.
It's
That's
going up.
That's the problem. It was going down though.
Oh,
I should say though, I definitely overreacted, and I think being sick and miserable was making it worse because I got my December financials back, and despite it being one of the worst months of 2023 for us, we didn't lose money.
And that is half the battle,
Yeah,
people.
exactly. We were closed 2 days out of that month. It was also slow as shit. Basically, very little catering coming in, and we still did okay.
Okay.
So I had to remind myself again, it always gets better. Just keep pushing through, keep going through. All right, let's keep watching.
Twice. First time was a designer bankruptcy with the top. I didn't lose anything, but just a lot on paper. And the second one was me filling out the bankruptcy form and going to bankruptcy court, and just. I had a year in the early 90s where I had $0 income.
And is this true where you were working a desk job answering phones and
Yeah.
people would recognize you asking you, aren't you Dee Snider?
Yeah.
And you would have to lie.
Yeah. I didn't have to lie. I
But,
just was so embarrassed.
It was killing
but
your
I
ego.
was like, nobody was interested in what I did. It was like I had studied a form of medicine that they found a cure for, so they no longer need doctors that handle it. Oh yes, you specialize in cancer. We got a pill for that now, right? Yeah.
Erectile dysfunction.
Yeah,
And I gotta believe that even in the '90s, that we're not gonna take it. I Want to Rock, gets baked into some huge movie.
I'll tell you what movie.
That
Road Trip.
Road Trip.
that was one of the first times it started showing back up.
Who doesn't love it when money just shows up? And that is exactly what happens with this
Okay,
book.
ad.
I remember
That
it was
dude.
actually the first thing, because it went dead. I mean, this is the facts. I mean, you obviously did your homework. I sold my catalog voluntarily for a shitload of money. Okay, and for those trying to understand how that works, see, when you're getting royalty stream, it's income.
Okay, before he gets into that part. Yeah, going from major heavy metal band, big hits, world tours, to now the musical landscape has changed and he's working at a call center, working a day job. And he tells more about the story of how between him and his wife, they could only afford one car, so he was riding a bicycle to the call center, you know, going all the way to rock bottom and building your way back up. I mean, I think that's a prime example of just don't stop, just keep going, one foot in front of the other.
There is no better speech than Rocky Balboa's speech, where he goes like, "It's not about how many times you get knocked out.
Yeah.
It's about how many times you get back up."
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
ugh.
Yeah. Love that. Love that speech.
It's one of the best movie scenes. Like, the movie sucked
right.
and everything.
It was the Rocky Balboa movie,
Yep.
right? Like his first time
Yeah, and he's
back
talking
as
to his son.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like that movie.
I loved it.
Yeah. It was great.
It just didn't have, like, economic success.
Yeah.
So you're taxed at a 50% rate. If you sell your catalog, it's at a capital gains rate of 15 to 20%. So if you get the right amount, they call it a multiple. So they say, oh, you're okay, you're pulling in $1 million a year on your catalog. We'll give you X years in advance. You and your accountant look and you go, okay, so I can have, and then I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass. You don't know these are the real numbers. I can have $10 million now, or I can wait and at 20% and take that money and invest it, and or I can get it hopefully every year, because you never know. Some years you're less, some years you're more. For the next 10 years, at 50%. So I'm only getting $500,000 instead of getting $800,000. You found eight. You found it's. I know there was. You were told
It
there
is
be
a
no
shell
math.
game.
Yeah.
And then if you're not that's where lacking knowledge of the taxes and all that, you have to trust a lawyer.
Yeah.
And that's, people get screwed.
Yeah. All the time. All the time. I mean, I don't know why they don't teach this shit in school. That's what you need to know in school. That's what they should be teaching.
Or make the fucking tax code simple.
No.
Just make it one tax all across the board once, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you sit there, you go, okay, this is the point, and you see so many people, this is where I sell, and I do that, But to your point, I couldn't sell my catalog. We were the grunge thing came in so hard. The hair metal was so out of vogue. Nobody would even buy it. I would have given it away. I would have sold it for $10,000, $20,000. My songs. I was broke. I had 3 children. My wife, God bless her.
He would have sold it during the grunge era for 10, 20 grand. I know for a fact he did not sell it for that amount. He sold his publishing a few years ago. I know this through the grapevine, through some mutual people.
What do you mean by publishing?
It's basically the rights to his music.
Okay.
Yeah. He sold all of it, cashed in a shit ton of money, because he actually wrote a lot of the Twisted Sisters.
But you're talking about lately he sold it.
Recently he sold it. So if
according to this story, he hasn't sold it.
No, he did already. But what he's telling you is during the grunge era, he was ready to basically give it away for 10, 20 grand. He didn't.
Listen, when you're hungry, you're hungry.
Yeah. Yep. That also goes to show you guys that you don't know what opportunities lay ahead of you. One big issue I see with a lot of young cooks is
pitfalls.
Yep. There's just no way to tell. But I can't guarantee you'll be successful if you try, but I can guarantee you won't be
successful if you don't try.
Yeah. At least show up. How many times have you said that? Just show up. Just fucking show up. If you just show up to college, like every class in college every day.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. You'll probably pass.
Yeah.
Maybe not with flying colors. So in his scenario.
Hey, what do you call a doctor who graduates with the lowest grade?
What?
Doctor.
Hell yeah.
Hair, makeup, wardrobe, the Bone logo. She did all those things. She went and worked at a beauty parlor, started doing makeup for bridezillas on weekends. And I went and got a job answering phones at a desk. We only had one car. I'd ride a bicycle there and answer phones, and people come in. And is that Dee Snider on the phone? This is 1991, 92.
And if you're trying to tell them that you're not Dee
No,
Snider,
and they
you got
believe
your
it.
you got your fangs.
I think they were cat. They had been cat by then. That was because that used to be tough to say it wasn't him, but nobody would believe it.
Now, how long after that you declare bankruptcy, all of that, you sell your you sell your whole catalog?
Well, that was years. That was
years
recently.
after.
Yeah.
Now, how around what time was it you created that Christmas song for your wife and Celine
So he's about to get into this story about how he wrote a Christmas song that Celine Dion ended up singing on, and this is just another example of you have no fucking idea what opportunities lay ahead of you. Just as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, opportunities will come. Some better than others. There will be pitfalls that come along your way, but as long as you have a good crowd of people around you, you navigate through them, opportunities will come your way.
Dion ended up recording it.
Yeah. So somehow during the 80s, early 90s or whatever, my wife asked me to write late 80s. I mean, this is like after the band's broken up, and she asked me to write her a Christmas song. And I'm like, babe, I'm trying to come back from, you want a Christmas song? I said, that's not metal. She goes, you can do it. You were a classically trained countertenor, which I was. And you love Christmas, which I do. And so I was working on some songs, and I got a wild idea for a song, and I wrote a Christmas song, not a rock song, and I recorded it. I couldn't sing it. It was just out of my range. Got a female vocalist. Merry Christmas, done. That was the end of it. Cut to, I don't know when it was, late 90s? I'm not sure exactly when it happened. Maybe late 90s. And I'm still on the balls of my ass. And I get a call. The engineer who was in the studio recording that song with me is now working with Celine Dion. And he tells me Celine Dion wants to record my wife's Christmas song. And the first thing I said, did you tell her who wrote it? And I said, not yet. I said, do not tell her. Satan wrote her Christmas song, because I said, just put the fucking song on the record and keep your mouth shut. So that record is the biggest selling holiday album of all time. 14 million copies. It's called These Are Special Times. And
you own the publishing to that?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And we call it The House That St. Celine
And that's
built.
even bigger than Mariah Carey's, what's the name of it? That Christmas song that she
All
did.
I Want for
I can't say that for a fact. Certainly that was a hit song in and of itself.
For sure.
This was on a hit holiday album. And then, I remember Rosie O'Donnell, Celine, sang it on the Christmas special. And I'm just sitting there just going, I can't believe this. And they don't know who wrote it. And then my wife's crying. It's so beautiful. Children are singing it. It's, but anyway, yeah, that was the only song I never wrote for commercial release. And it may be the most valuable song I ever wrote.
Wow.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The least expectation got you the most
Return.
Yep.
And it happens over and over. Now, I'm not saying just sit around and like, opportunity, come find me. You still have to get out there. You still have to create the conditions for opportunity to come your way.
You have to create the motion.
Yeah, exactly. But again, if you
have to create the action to get the reaction. That's the laws of physics.
Yes.
With every action, there's a reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just standing still, there ain't going to be no reaction.
Exactly. But this is a prime fucking
And I love Dee Snider.
Dude, I love Dee Snider. It's awesome. Did he put out a solo, like recently, a few years ago, he put out a solo heavy metal album, and it's awesome. It's really good. We'll rock it in the car.
Is there video?
Yeah.
I would like to see what he looks like to date singing heavy metal.
Okay, let's put on something real quick. For the love of metal, there we go.
Is that his song, the name of it?
Yeah.
For the love of metal?
Yeah, so he did this album together with Jamie Josta, who's also a big figure in the metal scene, and they put out this solo album, and it was awesome. Jordan, don't play any of the audio because I don't want to get demonetized, but this is the music video for that track.
And he fought so hard for. Remember, he's the one that they use as an example.
Yeah, and then he just made their fucking jaws drop.
Yeah.
They actually cover it in this podcast.
Oh,
I don't have that timestamp for
okay.
exactly when, but great story.
Because he's super smart.
Yes, very, very smart. He looks great, man. For his age, but
he's not trying to look young. He's looking his age.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's it. There's nothing wrong with looking your age. You could be cool. Cool doesn't mean fucking young, man.
And then you get back together with Twisted Sister and put out a Twisted Christmas.
Right. So Twisted Sister.
I did not know. I didn't know that until this.
Really nice. And you know, and I really
you know why they all love
the
Christmas albums, right?
Why?
Because successful Christmas albums
are every year.
Yeah. And then they get played on, you know, like they just add that song to a rotation of
songs,
of like Christmas songs, you know? So it's just one more to put on. That
you and I should make a Christmas song.
Should. I can only sing now, that's all.
That's fine.
Yeah? Okay.
I played the guitar.
Okay.
You know?
To them, really. I just, you know, I believe my own hype. I mean, I nearly destroyed my marriage, amongst other things. I destroyed every relationship I had, you know, in the mid-'80s. I thought I was a god, you know, and it just made my band's life miserable and wound up quitting and all. So I really the reason I wanted to reunite was to fix it. And it took a long time for the guys believed I wasn't the same guy. They kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, as the saying goes. You know, they just, you know, because couldn't believe I was so different. But I had been humbled.
It's another thing. Getting humbled. How many times have you and I been humbled over the course of our career?
Yeah. And not, well, there's being humbled for the good reasons, but how many times have we been humbled for the wrong reason?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, usually those moments are what matter even more.
Yes.
Getting checked.
Yes.
Getting checked for being a moron. And you know what? I find myself, even to this day, getting humbled still. You know?
Now, it's different levels now.
Yeah.
You know? Kids humble you.
Kids humble you.
It's like, and it's more like, oh.
And it's funny, those humbling moments kind of come from within because you see, I'm being a dick. I'm being a piece of shit right now.
And you're like,
you're right. Actually, now that I think about it, my recent humbling moments have all been kind of self-realized. I mean, even things with how I deal with business, with staff, with relationships, every little thing, there's these little
humbling moments don't need to be embarrassing moments.
Yeah, that's
to make
true.
A point.
Yeah, actually, very true. Very, very true.
You know?
Good
and
point.
it's the self-realization sometimes you're like, oh, shit. Who this?
Oh, that's to place my bread order.
Yeah, you weren't drunk and then got sober. You're like sober and then you're still sober.
Yeah, but when you're riding that bicycle to a desk job and you're out there, you know, and you're just recycling cans and just doing anything to save money to feed your kids. It just said, God, you know, it was like those, Lord, if you ever let me have success again, I won't be an asshole. If I am, you can smote me, strike me dead, you know. But everybody I've met who is like he's bigger than God, if they like were humbled, like Steven Tyler, Aerosmith, I saw
this
him
is another
at the
good
bottom,
story.
smacked out of his brain, living at that hotel where Sid Vicious was at, you know, showing up to borrow money from a few bucks from my manager. I said, he gave him like 5 minutes. He said, we're going to the bank. I have to meet somebody. And he pulled like $5,000 out of the bank to give. And Steven Tyler comes walking in like just, you know, he's skinny to begin with, but just fucking heroin out. And I'm going, you're giving him $5,000? And my manager used to be a concert promoter and said, I made so much money off that guy in concerts. If he never pays me back, it doesn't matter. I owe him that much.
I mean, that's one of the few good souls in the world who would do something like that. Holy shit.
That just reminded me of, like, I have an old friend that reached out to me again for another scam. I mean, he scammed me a couple of times.
You told me about this friend.
And he's trying to triple down.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I didn't even answer. I was like, what? Do I look that stupid? Do I look stupid?
You need to Yakuza him and,
Oh, dude.
piece of that finger.
That's not what I'd cut off.
And, hey, man, what's going on? D? How you doing? Like that whole, the heroin thing. Did you do heroin?
I was not a heroin guy, but
So you knew heroin. You know heroin guys?
I was a big heroin guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys. I mean, when
You don't look like you're a heroin guy anymore. Looks like you're cured.
Heroin guy. I'm sorry. They write books about being on heroin. The heroin guys I know, they couldn't find their dick, let alone a pencil to take notes. Come on, man.
Gross.
Come on. It's either purely fictitious or you aren't high. If you aren't high, okay.
I've done heroin once, long time ago in China, and that was the next day I decided to leave and come back to the States.
You're like, oh no.
I was like, this is amazing. I love this too much. I want to do it again right now. I called my dad up and I told him, I was like, I need to leave. No questions asked. He's like, okay, when? I'm like, next week. I need to get out of here. Let me take care of a few things, but I am leaving. I just had to completely pull myself out of that situation.
Did you try it again within the week?
No, but oh man, it was on my mind. It took every ounce of my being not to do it again. I wanted to chase it again so bad. But I literally went clean the next day.
Note to self, don't try heroin.
Yeah, guys, stay away from that shit. Oh my God. It is like the moment I sniffed it too, like I didn't even inject it. So I heard it's way more potent when you inject it. So for the euphoria that I felt sniffing it, I can only I completely understand why people get so addicted to it.
But but what I don't understand is I don't like false perceptions. And I don't care how good it is. If it's fake, if you know that it's fake.
But that's the thing. It's not fake. What you're feeling is just pure euphoria. It's not about fake or real. It's just the literal feeling through every cell of your body. It's unreal. Coke is the upper, makes you happy, makes you feel strong, makes you feel powerful. But this is something that grips at your soul, man. Yeah.
I cannot try this.
No, don't. Stay the fuck away from it. It's another reason. It's the reason why I don't do Coke anymore. After I left China too, I haven't touched it since. That was more than 20 years ago.
Never tried Coke.
You've never. Well, let's keep it that way.
But I feel left out now.
That's one thing. It's okay to feel left out on. Okay, buddy. That day when I did the heroin,
you're just scared at my age I'm gonna get a heart attack.
That too. I need you to be around for a long time. Buddy.
I was kidding.
That day I did the heroin, I woke up and cracked open a 40. Later, after lunch, smoked a joint, then went clubbing in the evening, took ecstasy when ecstasy was still a thing. And then later, when I was getting tired, did Coke, then was too hopped up, couldn't sleep. So my buddy I was with was like, oh, you're too hopped up. Well, I just got this, I just got some heroin. Let's give that a try. All within a 24-hour period.
Overachiever all the time.
That's not overachieving. Okay. That is not overachieving.
Hey, that's it. So anyway, but by the way, to his credit, Steven Tyler paid my manager back. Wow. He came back and and I've run into him many, many times, and he's a great guy. He's been through hell, and he's back, and he appreciates it. Brian Johnson wasn't a heroin guy at all, but he had given up on rock and roll. Given up. He was working doing vinyl tops on cars in Wales, where I think that's where he was from, Wales, and he gets out of left field. He gets the call to audition for AC/DC, and he knew the guys. And he knew the guys well enough that he thought it was a mercy audition. All right, we got to call Brian because he'll think we're being, they were friends enough.
Really? He felt
And he went in, he auditioned, and
he's fucking
went back
awesome.
to working, putting vinyl.
Dude, he's amazing. I mean, I'm sorry for me, when I think of AC/DC, I think of, I don't think of Bon Scott.
No?
Yeah. I mean, I love Bon Scott. Don't get me wrong. I love Bon Scott era AC/DC, but Brian Johnson's my guy for Ace, if I had to choose. Personally, that's just me personally. But that's another example of you don't know where opportunity is coming, because Dee's talking about how Brian Johnson, okay, he was putting vinyl top on cars and things like that. But if the band knew him well enough that they would call him for an audition, obviously he was still active in the music scene and out there and out and about. And again, you have to create the conditions.
But that's also that, what do you call that when you're successful, but you feel like you're like a fake,
Imposter syndrome. Yeah.
Well, then what if you have that? You're as successful as you are, you have that imposter syndrome. But then the day happens that you're not successful anymore. That imposter syndrome maybe takes over. It's like, oh yeah, I was a failure.
Yeah.
Like I didn't deserve it. Like, and then you just go back into the shadows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still feel imposter syndrome to this day.
Just don't fall into the shadows.
Yeah. Well, that's what I actively work on, right? I come talk to you.
Babe, you're set. I'm here.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
Well, it's not just talking to you. It's doing things that are good for my life. Like I started working out again, not to, look good, but more for my mental state.
I've been seriously thinking about it.
But with my chef career, I still think I still have imposter syndrome. With my YouTube career, same thing. We're getting to hang out with some really cool people in the YouTube world, and I'm saying to myself, well, why am I here? I feel weird. I still get that to this day. But I know you keep telling me like, Brian, we are the club. People want to come to our club, and I'm like, okay.
It's like one of my best lines was like, and I'm sure I heard it in a movie or a book or somewhere, but like it's like, oh, we like the party's already started. It's like, party doesn't start till we get there, baby.
Tops on cars.
Almost done with
he
this
told me
clip.
The story. And then, he says he gets a call. Hey, we're in the studio. Come on down. He's like, they were friends. So thinking nothing, he goes down to the studio, he walks in, and Angus says to him, you're never going to put another vinyl top on a car again. So Brian, have you ever met Brian Johnson?
No.
The humblest, most down to earth. He had given up on rock and roll. He gave up on his career. And he was rescued. He was rescued. And so, oh, by the way, he also told my manager.
He's got the face of rock and roll too.
Basically, Bon Scott picked Brian. My manager signed AC/DC, and he said they were at a club, and Bon comes rolling up. Brian's in a band called Geordie back at that time, with his arm around Brian and says, anything happens to me, this is my replacement. Literally picked his own dude. So, I guess the band took him seriously,
Shit.
Singer of Korn.
I didn't know that.
Oh, wait, are we just gonna glance over that?
No, not at all.
That's fucking insane.
It's fucking insane. It is. Yeah.
Dude.
That's what I love about podcasts.
Oh.
That's what I love about podcasts is you have the opportunity to have these full-fleshed conversations with people and get stories like this that maybe in the back recesses of their mind and they have an opportunity to tell you about it.
Yeah, but like Steve-O is it's not hitting him. Like there should be a pause there. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I agree.
Humble.
Jonathan.
Most humble, best dude ever.
You had him on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, he was like embalming bodies or whatever. Like he had a life before rock and roll.
He's talking about the singer from the heavy metal band Korn.
Yeah, he was an
Steve-O.
embalmer in mortuary.
Yeah. It was a tough one, too, judging by the lyrics on some of those songs. I remember that first album. It was Daddy not to touch him or beat him or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember I was doing a metal show at that time going, holy crap.
All right, that's really what I wanted to cover from this clip. I mean,
you gave me chills like 2 or 3 times in this, so that was definitely worth it.
I'm glad you liked it.
There you go.
I was listening to this at the gym, and I literally rewinded this couple minutes a few times, just the peaks and valleys, going from riding a bike to a call center, his wife now working at a beauty salon, they only have one car, to writing a song for fucking Celine Dion, to Brian Johnson getting the call to become the singer of AC/DC, you just
but
don't know where opportunity's coming from.
But that's also let's bring it down a little bit to the fact that that's why artists should be celebrated a little bit more for their art, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the success rate is minimal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like a career is hard to maintain.
Yeah.
It really,
in
really
the arts
is.
in particular.
And we know of that as chefs. It's hard to, okay, you made a great menu.
Right. Yes.
And it becomes, lackluster.
Well, not even lackluster. It just is, people get tired of you.
It's boring.
People get tired of you. That you're no longer the new kid on the block. You're no longer the new interesting thing. And I think that's gotten exponentially worse with the social media era, where literally one post can change everything.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you do something to stay in the ether consistently, like making crazy visual foods, which I will be honest, my shop is guilty of doing for the sake of marketing on social media, where sometimes you...
I'm not guilty of it.
I know you're not guilty.
My food is brown.
Yes, brown and looks like... What was that picture again, buddy?
The dick?
Yeah, the dick.
The dick pic.
Let's see if it's still there. The lower.
But my food, when it hits your mouth, I should be
that's
chef
what
to
she
a
said.
I should work for the blind.
This is my favorite pic on your Instagram.
My dick pic?
Yes, your dick pic.
Is it still up there?
I hope
there
so.
it is.
There it is. Look at
that. And it's not even a dish we make. I don't get it.
Oh my God.
You know Alden, right?
No.
My whatever website would whatever blah blah blah. He put that up, and I bitched at him. And then I think you coincidentally showed him it. I'm like, oh, now it's fucking staying up.
Oh, man. But yes, with restaurants, it's the same thing to stay relevant. And then even if you do stay relevant, 10 years later, at least in New York City, your lease is up. And then you probably got to move somewhere else and start over.
Not me, baby. I don't move.
Yeah, you definitely don't move. Frenchy, guess what?
What?
New merch drop. Remember on the podcast, our first ever Feasty Boys segment, we went to a restaurant called Han Song Ting. And the entire time, you thought I was calling you Handsome Thing.
Yes, I remember. We're wearing the t-shirts, aren't we?
Well, I had the design made. You loved it. And guess what? They have the B-roll. You don't have to shove it in their faces.
I was being practical.
And guess what, Frenchy? The Handsome Thing tees are now available for pre-order. Link in the description below. But why, Frenchy? What is the why should they be pre-ordering now? Because what happens if they don't pre-order?
Limited production, baby.
Yes, there you go. Once they are gone,
they're gone.
They're gone forever.
So can I put a special request into my 10%?
The 10% club.
Hop on it. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Or does it?
Visit the link in the description below and pre-order your Handsome Thing tee today. All right, let's move on to the next segment of our podcast, one we haven't done in quite some time, the not so current news. This one is from 18 weeks ago.
18 weeks ago, okay.
On Grub Street. And this kind of ties into a topic we spoke on a previous episode. Remember, we reacted to Matthew Lee's video about why is French food perceived as fancy? Mm-hmm. And you talked about how basically the French got to play restaurant the longest out of everybody. They had the time to refine it. And you spoke about how there's all these new cuisines coming up now that are catching up. Mm-hmm. Because another thing Matthew Lee said in his video is things with the French, at least, not within France, because French food is French, right? But outside of the world, things seem to have stagnated or not progressed. Right. And then I saw this article from 18 weeks ago that because I saved so many things on Instagram, I was like, wow, this falls right into what we were talking about. Why does so much Korean fine dining feel so French? And let me be the first to tell you.
Well, French set the pace and the par for fine dining.
But also, the Koreans like pretty things. You know what I mean?
They love a pretty thing.
They like the pretty
They want
thing.
the pretty things.
They want the pretty things, and they work for the pretty things. I mean, my dad's an auto mechanic. He tells me all the time. He's like, Brian, those fucking Koreans and their cars now, like, I remember 20 years ago, those cars were a fucking joke, and now they are nice. Like,
I know.
My dad's like, I want one now.
I talked to you about this too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
they've come a long way. So Grub Street says, in some of the city's most celebrated kitchens, familiar Korean dishes or ingredients are spun through the deconstructive impulses of molecular gastronomy and French technique. They're bolstered with agar, whipped into foams, folded into bechamel, and topped with caviar, uni, or truffles. Agar is a type of seaweed gelatin extract. What do you call it? And then bechamel is, can you tell them what bechamel is, buddy?
no.
It's a white mother sauce, creamy white mother sauce. Thanks, bud. I couldn't have done it without you.
You're welcome.
Why has this become the norm?
You got there.
Yeah, it's very true. There are lots of cuisines refining themselves to more French-esque atmospheres, techniques, plating, things like that. It's been happening for quite a long time, actually. And I think it's very fun and exciting. However, funny enough, like I wouldn't go to eat at this type of Korean restaurant.
Yes, we would. I want to go to Simon's place.
Okay, well, I will go once or twice.
Simon
but-
Kim.
Yeah. I will,
Coat.
Yes, Coat. I've been to Coat.
Kokodot.
It's awesome. Coat is awesome. It's right down the street from my old grounds, my old place, Mira Sushi, which is since gone. Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I'm realizing how much I went to Simon's place and didn't go to yours.
No, Simon's place opened
After?
After, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't feel bad.
Well, I was a little
Yeah.
bit.
So next article, I thought this was an interesting one.
And earned $75 million.
Sope, we talked about how his gold stake is pretty much a fucking scam.
Yeah.
And they bring up some facts here, which I actually want to correct them on.
Okay.
I have my 2 cents, but most of it I do agree with them. You ready, bud?
His empire is starting to collapse, and his restaurants are closing one by one. Many thought he was a business genius for turning a meme into a huge chain of luxury restaurants.
Give him
which
that.
made him travel on private jets, sit
Give
with
him
the
that.
rich and famous, and earn $75 million.
His downfall started
Yet-
at the World Cup when he pushed his luck
Mm-hmm.
and was like shoving himself into the. Yeah, there.
Yeah, right
that's
there.
That's
Yeah.
the beginning of his downfall.
Yeah. But you also don't think it's because of the exorbitant amount of money he was charging for his food? And,
Nah, there's enough douchebags who want to, play that part.
right.
Nah. And a lot of
but I-
douchebag places that are still successful.
I feel like the downturn was already starting before.
In New York, that doesn't count.
Oh, okay. All right. Good point. Yeah.
It's one.
Right.
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 New Yorkers are savvy.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah. You're right. Good point. But yes, you are right. After the World Cup thing, it definitely affected like the world for him. Yeah. Okay.
After his controversial appearance at the World Cup that made him banned from FIFA, his
Oof.
name and reputation went downhill from being the world's sexiest butcher to being the most hated chef. And
Wait,
looks like in the coming
Who's the
days,
second sexiest butcher? The world's sexiest butcher. Who's the second one?
No idea.
What the fuck?
I mean, that's why I say like this clip, there are certain things I'm just like, all right, I think he's embellishing.
No, it's
Yeah.
It was a scam that got developed, and
Mhm.
it's like that showmanship,
Yeah.
like, and they tried to recreate that in so many formats in the restaurant
Right.
too, like the way they cut the dessert and the ice cream and this and that, and they chop it's garbage. It's just all garbage.
And you've eaten there a few times.
Not reluctantly. I even I've taken plenty of pictures with him.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You want some?
Yeah.
I might have to crop out a few people.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
he's bringing down his own empire with Salt Bay reportedly sold customers leftover wine and stole 3% of his waiters' tips.
Okay. Selling old wine. I think that's embellishing a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how true
Like
that is.
how is he staying on top of that?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Maybe people were doing that,
Right.
but how is he fucking
Right.
responsible
I
for that?
highly doubt.
And the tip thing too. He's not taking
He's
care
not
of
taking tip.
payroll.
And
He's lucky if he knows how to read this dude.
yeah. But also, it's very common, and this may be controversial, but this is just the fucking truth, guys. Restaurants will take 3% on tips if they're paid via credit card, because that's exactly what the credit card company is charging.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not, if the place is run well, like my place, the employee handbook will state it that any tips paid via credit card will have a 3% deduction for processing fees. That's actually industry norm.
Yeah.
So again, yes, this clip is bringing up some real and fair points, but a lot of it is embellished.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, he's just failing because it's okay. The gag has run its course. You know what I mean?
Right. And that goes back to,
Enduring
and trying to stay relevant.
But listen, he's banked so much money. Like the watches alone that I know that he owns could sustain.
If he lives within his means, that's another thing.
Yeah, but.
Oh, and they showed a shot of him flying in a private jet. Maybe he did afford it, but I'm pretty sure he was just tagging a ride with like one of his partners or an investors or something like that.
Or they hired a flight to do a promo, to do just to shoot that stupid fucking clip.
Yeah. Like,
the plane was probably not even moving.
Yeah. Like I was fortunate enough to get flown in a private jet. Wasn't mine, it definitely wasn't mine. It's not as hard as you may think in reality.
Jets are like, it's like other people's money.
Yeah.
And when they complained, he all fired them. Although he denied these allegations.
All right, I had enough of that clip. You get the point. Guys, when's this clip from? This one's from 18 weeks ago.
And I kind of feel bad for him. He's a little bit of a repressed human being.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think there's a little extra happening there.
So that's why he had to let it out in that way. Sorry, my earbuds fell. Hang on.
Earbuds.
One more news clip. This is also from 18 weeks ago. Former Girl Scout troop treasurer charged with felony theft after stealing over $12,000. This is from Cheddar. Nothing is fucking sacred.
There is nothing lower than stealing from than the church just got robbed of $20,000 or $40,000.
What?
Yeah, apparently some employee forged a check.
There's a special place in hell for people like that. Kelly M. Rabb, a former Girl Scout troop treasurer, was arrested and charged with felony theft after allegedly stealing over $12,000 from a troop. Delaware State Police arrested the 52-year-old on October 12th following an investigation prompted by a group of local Girl Scout troop representatives. A 10-month-long investigation took place after the group reported missing funds to the Delaware State Police Financial Crimes Unit. Police stated...
A 10-month investigation? Ooh, it cost a lot more than $12,000 to arrest her.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Oh, yeah, here we go.
And she's done it before.
Yeah. Following a 10-month investigation, troopers discovered that Rabb issued and cashed fraudulent checks in addition to making unauthorized payment card transactions during her time as treasurer with the Girl Scouts from January 2018 to November 2022. Rabb turned herself in last Thursday and was arraigned before being released on her own recognizance.
Next.
Yeah.
That's just, this is sad news.
Well, you sent me that one.
This is good.
I guess we'll get into clips. I like this clip a lot because, well, let's watch the clip first.
Yes.
Okay, let's watch the clip. Yeah, leaving this segment, now we're into clips. All right, that's it for
what segment were we doing?
The not so current news.
Oh, and now we're doing clips.
And now we're doing clips.
Okay,
yeah.
That are more recent.
Yeah, more recent. Frenchy literally sent me this today.
I have no problem living in a camp, going to bed when it gets too dark to read, and waking up when the sun comes through my window. I don't own an alarm clock.
That's a cedar house.
When no one shows up, and you don't have to go anywhere.
You know why people use cedar?
Why?
It's a bug repellent.
Oh, did not know that.
That's how you would get cedar chests, cedar armoires.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yep.
All right, the more you know. I love that. This guy is able to just...
A good days when nobody shows up? Come on, how great is that?
But also the fact that he's okay with just going to sleep when it's too dark to read. And
Which
when
is
the
what
sun...
you're supposed to be doing.
Yes, I know. And when you sent me this, I was like, oh, this is the exact opposite of me.
I could live that life.
I can't.
Very easily.
I think about going to France with you, and I'm like, I think I can do it for like 4 days.
We could do it. And you know why we could do it? Because with the time change, we could fall into that. We can go to bed early, and it won't really affect us that much. And then we'll wake up. The day is long. When you get up with the sun and go to bed with the sun, it's long, especially in the summer.
I am definitely, I have been saying to myself, because this is why I have a hard time going on vacation, is I get too antsy. I start wanting to do work.
FOMO.
Yeah, FOMO. Yes, FOMO. For sure. It's a problem. I know it's a problem.
I don't have this problem.
Yeah.
I look for opportunities to do nothing.
My family's going away for a month during the summer, and my wife was like, "You don't want to go, do you?" I was like, "No, I want to stay in New York and work."
I'm like the guy, like people ask my wife, "What's Paul thinking?" Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He's like, I could stare out.
All right, next clip. My buddy Tim Howley sent me this video. I thought it was an epic, elegant, wonderfully done sandwich. Let's watch. Garlic, extra virgin olive oil.
Okay, confit.
Confit.
Focaccia. Focaccia or focaccia?
Focaccia. Oh, you're the one that speaks Italian. Oh.
That light crisp. Okay.
Now, there are some people who get really skeeved out on the idea of fruit with savory.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it? Really?
I like it.
Yeah.
But it's not my go-to.
Oh, okay. No,
you know
I love it. One of my most popular sandwiches at Mission has that.
The only sweet dish savory I have is a duck à l'orange, and it's completely, it's smothered, which is a word you don't want to use for cooking a dish, but that's the only way I can think of it, is the duck needs to be smothered in that orange sauce. Yeah, salads with fruit in it, I'm like, oh.
I love it.
Nope.
Look at that garlic. Oh. Some ham, peach, burrata, honey. Oh.
Spicy honey, I don't mind. Oh. Is he adding the special effects after? Sounds like he's adding
some of the audio is definitely added,
right?
For sure. For sure.
We didn't need to hear that one. We could have just watched it.
And then one more clip before we move on to the next segment. I thought this was very interesting, and I wanted your take on it. Are you familiar with Rick Beato? This guy.
No.
So Rick Beato is a music producer, musician, and he has a huge YouTube channel. And in fact, my business partner at Mission Sandwich was recently hanging out with him. He's in the music industry. So Rick Beato is just a super talented, you'll hear for yourself, he's just a well-spoken, super talented musician. And he has this amazing series of videos called What Makes This Song Great, where he will literally take the biggest hits, often videos getting demonetized. So he puts out these videos and he can't even monetize them because the record labels will copyright it. He doesn't care. It's about the education, right? Okay. Again, this is it's because of the integrity of guys like him that has made me rethink what I want to do with our channel, with Pro Chef Reacts together.
I told you, quality.
And
let's not waste time on bullshit.
Yep, I agree. And he he talks about how the world of social media platforms and these record labels are basically at a head right now. And I thought this was an interesting
video. You could see this the smell of desperation in these big music companies where they're forcing hits. They're trying to like make you believe ahead of time that these are like hit songs.
Well, check this out. Check this video out.
Universal Music Group has pulled all of its music off of TikTok in a licensing dispute. This is a huge story because Universal has about 32% of the market of all artists like Taylor Swift, Drake, U2, Ariana Grande, and the list goes on and on and on. By comparison, Sony has 22%, Warner Music Group has 16%, and all the other indie labels combined are about 30%. This is from the New York Times. On Tuesday, a day before its licensing contract with TikTok was set to expire, Universal, the largest of the three major record labels, published a fiery open letter accusing TikTok of offering unsatisfactory payment for music. On AI, TikTok is allowing the platform to be flooded with AI-generated recordings, as well as developing tools to enable, promote, and encourage AI music creation on the platform itself, and then demanding a contractual right which would allow this content to massively dilute the royalty pool for human artists in a move that is nothing short of sponsoring artist replacement by AI. If you go to a TikTok video now that has UMG content, it'll say either this sound isn't available or sound removed due to copyright restrictions. People that use TikTok for the last 5 years have been posting these short snippets, 15 seconds of music in the background of their videos on anything. They're dancing, they're doing whatever. And this has been driving the viral nature of songs on Spotify and Apple Music. When I do these Spotify top 10 countdowns, those are really TikTok hits that are viral there that are now the top songs on Spotify. That's really what's going on. The major labels had not been able to find a way to promote their artists for years until TikTok came around. That algorithm has been so influential in driving sales and streams. This is probably not going to last very long because Universal depends on TikTok for this. It really does. They depend on each other. TikTok needs the content from Universal. Universal needs the promotion from TikTok. That's just a fact. The idea that Universal is worried about its artists, is a joke. They're just worried about their bottom line. And of course, TikTok is worried about their bottom line. They don't want their videos going silent. Universal wants to be able to make money from this.
So sometimes in a business, you need to give away stuff just to promote yourself. And they feel like they can't even do that, basically.
No.
They feel like they're losing out on money, right? To going to the artist. Bullshit.
Right.
It's really for them.
Yep.
That they're getting that cut. I guarantee you that if you ask all the artists, they're like, no, it's giving us publicity.
Yeah.
Every look at everybody's listening to my song now.
Yep, there you go.
So again,
nail on the head. That's what I'm doing for you from now on. He gets into that later.
See,
buddy.
and then so basically, like the artists are like, that would be me. Like if someone was, it's like when people try to recreate the French onion soup burger. Oh God. And then people's like, oh, don't you get upset? It's like, no, because every time someone brings it out and it's not good, they mention mine. And it comes back to me,
Yep.
And then people are like, oh, no, then you got to try this one. And that's, they're sampling. TikTok is sampling.
Yep.
It's creating buzz. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, I really like that 15 seconds. Let me go get the fucking album.
Well, this doesn't apply just to modern artists. Let's keep watching.
Things that happened back in 2020 when TikTok really became the dominant force in music promotion is when you had that guy with the ocean spray cranberry thing riding on a skateboard and he was listening to Dreams. He was playing the music Fleetwood Mac tune that came out in 1977. That became a massive hit. A song from 1977 because of this one viral video that had billions of views. And because of that, labels started realizing not only did it promote contemporary songs, but promoted what we call catalog music.
Did that guy monetize that video?
I have no idea.
Because that's enough money to that's it, done.
Well, not necessarily.
Billions?
Billions of views?
Didn't he just say billions?
He said
of views?
billions of views on TikTok. TikTok doesn't pay out well.
Oh, shit.
If you got billions of views on YouTube, he probably okay right now.
Yeah, right?
But no, on TikTok, on Instagram, they don't really pay out.
Oh, they don't? Oh, I didn't know this.
That's kind of the reason why I don't really put much effort into the social medias. Like, yes, it's good to promote, but if, with only so many hours in the day I can allocate to work, I'm going to pick and choose my battles. And quite frankly, YouTube is what's paying.
Okie smoky.
Up platforms like YouTube and videos that I would have blocked. Like I had a Fleetwood Mac, What Makes a Song Great, that was blocked forever because it was a band that actually blocked their content. But once this thing with Dreams happened, the video magically reappeared on my channel and it was not blocked. They just demonetized it because all the labels and publishing companies realized that it was better, instead of blocking it, to actually have the songs played and then just take the money from it.
So this guy, Rick Beato, has even testified in front of Congress about I don't know the exact terms. I apologize, guys. Let me know in the comments below. But basically, he's fighting for the right for fair use. You know how some of our content gets taken down because there's this short little music clip and then the whole video would get demonetized and we don't get anything out of it. You know, he was basically fighting for fair use because in his case specifically, he was taking the song and using it for an educational purpose. Like he would show you a chord progression of a song and he would say, this is why you like this chord progression so much because it falls in line with this key and that whatever, right?
I gotta start watching it.
Dude, amazing. And he would give you the why of everything about a song. Things that like you and I would give the why about a cooking technique. He would do the same thing with a musical technique.
Or why do we like da-na-na-na?
Right. You know, if he covered that song, I'm pretty much he would say like, oh, these notes are whatever scale and they invoke this type of feeling. And he would fight endlessly with these labels for proper fair use. And I did not realize this until just now, but now the labels are freeing it up because they're realizing.
Ooh, free commercials.
Yeah. Like they wouldn't even let the video come out anymore. They completely took it down. The same thing happened with my Beat Bobby Flay reaction video.
Ooh, then we should try again. Maybe now's the time.
Maybe now's the time. I don't know. Well, I don't know that, but that's Food
you know
Network.
my video, my episode is going to be a
doozy.
A doozy.
Yeah. But that's Food Network. That's not, it's a completely different industry.
We have to do it.
I don't think Food Network has caught on yet. We can maybe do it for Patreon, but I don't know about the actual main channel.
Let's try it. How long is a fucking episode?
Well, it's not about the episode. It's about the fact that it gets demonetized.
So we waste our time a little bit. Yeah. It's worth it.
All right.
To try.
All right. Easy for you to say.
What? Come an hour early.
Huh? No, we can definitely react to it. I'm talking about, I'm very reluctant to react to Food Network stuff because it always gets demonetized. And you have to remember, on my main channel, I only put out 4 videos a month.
Oh, we text him.
No, I don't think Bobby has that kind of power.
No?
He doesn't own those videos.
Yeah, but he could just say, don't fucking bust a nut over this.
You're going to ask him, you're going to call him for that favor?
Yeah, that's
kind of weird.
Kind of weak.
Yeah, it's kind of weak. No, we need to like ask him that when he comes on the podcast one day or something. We have to find a way to get him on the podcast. Remember when we bumped into you at Minetta Tavern?
I'm not racist, but Ginger's like, draw the line.
Makes sense. But the idea that Universal is worried about the artist is kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Now, I am a TikTok user. I have an account. I have 170,000 followers over there. I post a couple times a week, just like I post on Instagram. So I post on all 3 platforms. I post here on YouTube. YouTube's the only place that you actually get paid for posts. I mean, that's it. That's the only place that actually rewards creators. Yes, TikTok does pay a little bit of money, apparently. And Instagram pays a pitiful amount of money for the hundreds of millions of views or whatever it is that I've had over there. I've made $800 or something like that. A pretty sad state of affairs. If TikTok wanted to reward creators and cared more about creators, they would actually pay them better. And the record labels are using the same thing, but they actually have leverage because they actually own the copyrights to these songs and can pull them from TikTok. But the creators like myself, there's really nothing we can do to get TikTok to pay us more money, at least not at this point. Right? I don't have 100 million followers on TikTok that I can actually make any difference with. This thing will probably get resolved very quickly because it's not in either company's interest for this to go on for too long because they both need each other. Until the record labels figure out a way to promote their artists without using social media platforms, or until YouTube figures out how Shorts can actually promote music better, or how Instagram can promote music as effectively as TikTok, there's going to be this thing between TikTok and the 3 major labels. Really curious to see what happens with this. Love to know your thoughts.
All right. So
you got me, peaked to go curiously watch
Rick Beato.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should definitely check him out. I think you'll love his channel. I legit think you would really, really enjoy it. Yeah, that's it for the clips. it's just amazing how social media has changed the landscape. It is almost, for restaurants, social media is built into the PR aspect, the PR and marketing aspect of it now.
Do I need to give in? Do I need to hire a social media person?
I know you recently reached out to the New York restaurant chat about that, and I was going to hit you up about it directly. I can give you some recommendations.
I was kind of hoping to hit on someone. I was hoping someone would respond.
Oh, someone else?
Yeah.
No, you don't want my recommendation?
Of course I do. But I was hoping that someone who's good at it.
I'm not good at it. I'm fucking around.
Who has a bigger reach? Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Gives me a friends and family quote.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I can't do that.
I fish a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, social media has completely changed the game. Even when I hired a PR team for my shop, Mission Sandwich Social, the marketing campaign on social media was a big part of it. In fact, it was one of my business partners' main points. He's like, is there a marketing plan in place via social media for this? You always ask that question. And again, my shop's completely built on social media. And now these mega giant record labels with artists like fucking U2 and Taylor Swift are dependent as well.
Taylor Swift is not dependent.
No, I didn't say Taylor Swift. I said the labels to break new artists or to promote new artists as well. Social media is a massive tool for them.
But I feel like they also create the story of success before it becomes a success.
Yeah. Yeah. Fake it till you make it type of deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. More than y'all will ever know.
Do you still hear about Bad Roman? Remember when Bad Roman was like on social media all over the place?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Okay, I'll talk to myself now.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here today.
Wait.
What?
What about no.
What? No. We're an hour and 18 minutes in.
But what about people asking us questions?
Well, I put up the poll. We're going to have that for the next episode, buddy. I do have one note in here, though, that I didn't get to yet.
Okay.
It is.
Tell me.
But this story has to come from you.
Uh-oh.
Your Alec Baldwin story.
Oh.
You told me I was digging through my notes, and I only put stuff in here when you tell me to put it in there. So your Alec Baldwin story, you asked me to bring it up.
Yeah, was I a little tipsy when I asked you?
Probably.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, wait, he's going through all that. No, he's going to jail soon. Don't worry about it.
No. I feel bad for him.
No, that is a mega shitty situation. Do you want to skip it?
Nah, let's tell the story. So these were the days of Fit Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, I was obliging a friend who was more into the scene of getting healthy than actually getting healthy.
Right.
So Soul Cycle was like the big craze. That's where all the rich people went and everything. Yeah. And it was like all about getting a space and getting a special, and whoever headed the class and everything was a big deal. And celebrities would be going. And so we go into the room and, as a friend, you want to sit next to your friend. So we just take two bikes next to each other. And then who walks in but Alec Baldwin, stating that bike was his. And we're like, just sit next to Alec. And he's like, no, that's my bike. And we're like, well, that's my
buddy.
That's my buddy. We're going to
Soul Cycle next to each other.
This is my bike. And we're like, okay.
He straight up said it like that.
Yeah.
No, that's my bike.
It's like, it's my bike. It's my bike. And then we were like, he's going to pay for this now.
The Marcel voice.
And so my friend and then my friend was very good at, he's like, we were talking over him to each other. We were purposely trying to
annoy the fuck out.
We're obviously starting the pitch of we're going to be annoying through the whole thing, right? Yeah. So we're doing and then he's obviously saying that we're not going to let on, he's like, you two guys,
So what were you guys saying to each other between them? Come on. Tell us more. Tell us more, buddy. Come on.
It was
when Paul has to pause and filter.
I have to filter this. Okay. So basically we were going back and forth and we were teasing him and everything like that. And then
come on, you guys were saying shit like this movie sucked really bad, didn't it? Okay. Right? Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and then he was like, we were doing that, and he's like, "Are you guys going to keep this up during like this the whole time?" Mm-hmm. He's like, because we were obviously teasing him, and he's like, "You guys are going to keep this up during the whole time. This is like a class."
Yeah.
And my friend goes, "You tell him, Paul." He goes, "Paul.
Yeah.
You tell Alec Baldwin to shove Red October up his fucking ass." Or he's gonna get a piece of us. And then that's where Alec Baldwin was like, "Okay, that was funny." And he was like, "But you didn't give up the bike."
Oh, you didn't give up the bike?
No. He laughed, but then he was like, "Okay, that was a good one. That was a good one."
Oh man! All right, guys, we're gonna leave you with that story. Thank you, Frenchy.
You like that story?
I love that story very much. Any closing words before we leave today? Today was a heavy episode.
It was
a lot of not heavy like in emotional sense, but just a lot of knowledge and a lot of uplifting material. I'm motivated.
With the fear of sounding annoying, go subscribe. Push that button to like follow and subscribe and get notifications.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you did that all by yourself.
I know, right?
Good job, buddy.
You didn't even spoon feed me.
I'm proud of you.
And you didn't even request it. I did it all
You did it all by yourself. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did making it. Remember, don't be afraid to fail because it can only make you stronger. And with that said, I'm Chef Brian Tsao.
Frenchy, signing off.
We'll see you real soon. Bye.